Sucker soup on a hot summer day. Coffee comes back in a nerve-wracking way. The dishes and laundry take the garbage out. What a day, what a day, what a day.
Well, welcome to Schenectady today, in and around the capital region. We're so happy you're joining us today. We have really a great show today. Let me tell you who's going to be on our show. We've got great topics coming up. Sit back, get yourself a cup of coffee, and get a piece of paper. You might want to take some notes on this show. We're going to be talking about the living room, which is a mental health diversion. I think they call it a diversion center. And then we're going to be talking about the new black hole that they photographed, Dudley Observatory. We have a fabulous designer on the show today, and we're going to be talking about her bags and the things that she does make. She's an amazing woman, so you're going to be pleased to meet her. And we have another amazing woman who is a playwright, author. She does it all. We're going to be talking with her as well. And of course, we're going to be talking with Jan, who does her Jan's Wanderings, and we're going to be talking about the historical windows that they'll be putting up at Proctors. So we've got a great one. And our breaks today are going to be a visit to a wildlife rehab center. West Larrabee has allowed us to go there and do some filming, so we're all set. But we're going to be starting out this segment here. It's called The Living Room, a mental health partnership. And we'll be talking with our guests. We have Rabii on. We have Jennifer DeCrescente. We have Jennifer Clemens and Mary May. We have, let's see, Hannah Springer. We have Eileen McGashey. How do you pronounce that? McGashey. Okay, and then and that's it. I guess that's our guests lined up here. And the reason I'm saying that is because we are probably going to be on radio, so I did want to mention everybody that we're talking to. It is a partnership between Ellis Medicine, the Rehabilitation Support Services, and it's funded by the Alliance for Better Health. So we're talking about the living room. Who wants to be the spokesman today?
I'll start.
You're going to start. Okay. We have Jennifer DeCrescente, who's going to be speaking to start us off today and tell us a little bit about what you do, what your title is, and let our viewers and our listeners know.
All right. So I'm Jen DeCrescente. I'm the program director for the living room. We are a crisis diversion program. It's a joint program between RSS and Ellis Mental Health Clinic. We're funded through the Alliance for Better Health. We are built to look like the living room in a home, so it's comfortable, calm, relaxing.
And we had some photos that we'll be showing during the show, yes.
We are meant for guests to come in when they're experiencing a mental health crisis instead of going to the emergency room.
And it's a way to divert the resources from the ER
Absolutely.
To a place where it's more comforting.
Yes.
Because ER rooms, let's face it, can be very
stressful,
busy.
Very expensive, so we're trying to provide a more comfortable alternative.
Okay, and is this a drop-in center?
It is. It's a walk-in, so people can come at any time. We're open from 12 to 8, Monday through Friday. They don't need a referral. They can just walk in on their own. And I can let the staff talk a little bit about what they do.
And you're referring it to Jennifer next, Jennifer Clemens, right? Hi, Jennifer. What do you do here?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Clemens, the care manager at the living room. I meet with the guests who need assistance linking with resources in the community, whether it be mental health treatment, substance abuse treatment, transportation assistance, housing, food.
Do you look at the whole package in a sense?
Yeah, and then I refer them to long-term care management who can further assist them.
Now, when we talk about this, would this also be someone who feels suicidal could come in?
It could be, yeah. I can let Eileen talk about that.
Okay, good. We'll talk to Eileen next. Eileen, do you want to speak next? Eileen is going to speak about what do you do there?
I'm the supervisor, psychiatry, so I'm the clinical social worker. So I'm always looking for assessing for safety. As soon as they come in, I guess we're going to, with a lot of warmth and welcoming, ask what we can do for them today and explain the program. I'll start off with an assessment, which will give me a little more idea why they're coming in. We have a tool to measure their anxiety, their distress level, a SUD scale. So I take an initial score just to see how they feel when they're first coming in. And once I finish the assessment, I'm determining what they need for the day, trying to put together a personal centered plan.
Right. It's sort of like an IEP in schools.
In a way,
an individualized plan.
because they can stay as long as they want. It's not that they just have 45 minutes or an hour.
But it's not residential when you say they can stay as long as they want. Okay.
It's not, but we have, different ways to calm them down, to relax. We have a smart TV with Netflix. We play music. We have a meditation room, activities room. So once I'm finished, I try to see what they need, and then we all play different roles. So next, we'll just let Taylor.
Okay, so Taylor's going to speak next. Hey, Taylor. He's been on the show before, but in a different way. So yeah. Taylor, and you mentioned to me, you emailed me and told me about this fabulous, the living room.
Right.
So tell me what you can, how you've been associated with that.
So I'm Taylor Rabii. I'm the peer specialist over at the living room. So for my role, what I do is, I use my own personal experience with mental health and substance use to try to, work with people when they're feeling really overwhelmed and stressed out. So when they come in, there's a variety of different things that we can do. Some people, they work well with worksheets. So sometimes I can work with people on worksheets.
What's a worksheet?
So worksheets, it's like these little sheets of paper that have questions or activities on them to kind of get people to put their feelings and their thoughts on paper and work out.
So much easier to put it on paper, isn't it? Because then you've kind of pulled it out of yourself and you put it somewhere else.
Right, and you can hopefully at the end of the day let it go
Yeah,
and let
exactly.
it be and move on, And then sometimes, we just talk and I provide some sort of support and give them the opportunity to process what's going on, work on problem solving skills, strengthening or finding new coping skills. And in the meditation room, like Eileen had mentioned, sometimes I'll do a guided meditation with them and help them soothe, or we'll play.
It just calms them down, yeah.
Right, to help them feel, because that's the goal. We want them to feel better and feel soothed. That way they don't have to keep getting more and more stressed
agitated
out and agitated at the end of the day. Yeah.
And how do people find out about you? Because this is the first I've ever heard of it, so.
So there's a variety of ways. Some people, it's, they're referred. We get a lot of people who come from the Ellis Mental Health Clinic or over from Ellis Pros, and their clinicians will bring them over and give them a tour of the place if they need to use it. Ellis Crisis will refer people, other treatment agencies. Some people hear word of mouth from friends who have come previously to the living room and used our services. So then when they hear hey, my friend actually had a really good experience and they didn't have to go to the hospital and they use this program, then they're like, I want to try this too.
This is a more friendly approach to it.
Yes.
We haven't heard from Hannah. So Hannah, tell us a little bit about what your position is here.
So I'm the program manager of the living room program, and I came on board in January.
So you're a newbie.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to be working with the living room program. It's just an incredible resource for the Schenectady community, and so I directly supervise our care manager, Jen, and peer specialist, Taylor. And since the living room program has opened in October,
it hasn't been open that long.
No, yeah.
That's probably why I haven't heard of that. It's like I think I know almost everything in our community, and how did I miss this one? But thank you so much for telling me. At least I know it was new. It's new.
Yeah. So since October, we, as our March numbers show, that we have had 327 visits to the living room.
Really?
And we've served 187 individuals. And so out of those 187 individuals, only 9 have gone on to the ER from the living room for behavioral health reasons. And our numbers have just steadily increased since October. March has been our highest yet, with a total of 81 visits and 39 new individuals who have come.
Wow, I'm impressed, as you can tell. Mary, tell us about what your position is at the is it it is a center, sort of.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, yes, I'm the clinical manager of the Ellis State Street Health Center, which is a large building.
What's a center?
Center, yes. And it's a brand new building. We've only been there a couple of years, and it houses the living room as part of the building. It also houses a large mental health clinic that serves about 1,400 individuals. And
as just a walk in, or day? I mean, it's not residential. Just so everybody knows. It's
yes, we're open from 8:30 in the morning till 5.
And it's staffed by
approximately 7 medication providers, psychiatrists and psychiatric nurse practitioner,
Okay.
about 18 psychotherapists, 4 RNs, and
So you're well staffed.
4 case managers.
Yeah, you're well staffed.
And then the other component is what we call PROS. It stands for Personalized Recovery Oriented Services, and that's like a day program. We have classes, and we help individuals meet goals to like live fulfilling lives despite their symptoms. So when the building was built, it had one space empty that we were going to turn into an outpatient crisis center. And that's what became the living room.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
it is kind of a little bit of a crisis center, but the point is it's much more comforting.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
It's more like urgent care.
yeah.
You know, like with urgent care for medicine, you go in when you have a sore throat
Right.
or you a sinus infection or something. You don't.
Yeah, you
really
don't need to go to an ER.
Right.
Right.
And that's what this is. You go in when you're anxious. Is
Yeah.
the number one thing that people come in for. Anxiety. Depression is the second reason.
And I'm sure that a lot of, and I shouldn't say I'm sure because I'm not sure, but it seems to me that when they don't have a support system at home,
Yes.
they really need to have someone from the outside looking in and making, putting reality to some of these things.
Right.
That is a big reason that people come in on top of the anxiety and depression. We also see a lot of people who come in for social problems. So they're homeless or they don't have any social supports, they have family issues going on, and that's where the care manager helps a lot with linking them to external resources for follow-up.
So if they have no family, then you're the one that can kind of, Jennifer, figure out how to get them that support, whether it goes to Bethesda House or some of these other places. Is that it?
Right.
Or I'm making that up. But,
Yeah. No.
Yeah, based on the initial assessment and things, I may talk to them about, I can assess what their needs are. If it's an immediate need, I can help them right away. If it's, something that can wait for care management, then they'll give care management services.
And what about medications? Because you mentioned the drug, giving drugs. Since you have a psychiatrist there who can prescribe, or a nurse practitioner, you have, a PA can also prescribe. You're looking at the person to kind of get them maybe in a steady state, so to speak.
Well, that's interesting you ask that. Not yet. The clinic has doctors and a nurse practitioner.
Well, I was talking about the clinic. Yeah.
But the living room.
No, that's different. I understood that.
Yes.
But I was looking at your setup.
So yes, that's a major part of treatment at the mental health clinic. In fact, it's one of the criteria for being a client there. We have very few clients who are on no medications.
Oh, really? Okay.
If someone comes in and is not needing a medication, we might refer them to a counseling center.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because we can't treat everyone, right? So we have to have certain guidelines. The vast majority of people at the clinic are on some kind of a medication, and then they receive individual psychotherapy.
Okay, so that's that package.
Right.
They leave there and they have a crisis, a mini crisis, and then they come to the living room.
Correct. Now in the future,
what a wonderful setup you have.
it is great.
Yeah.
It's great. In the future, though, that is something we would like to add to the living room, and we can talk about that later. But we would like to add that medication component. But right now, if someone needs medications,
well, you can't have a walk-in medication. I like
Correct.
medication. Doesn't work that way.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean you have to go through a mental health assessment, and your funding for the living room comes from the Alliance for Mental Health. Is that correct?
The Alliance for Better Health.
Better Health. I'm sorry, I said
Yep.
it wrong. Your funding comes through the hospital. Is that correct?
Yes, we bill for services.
Yeah, and I'm talking with Mary May right now about the clinic
Right.
themselves. So your funding comes separately. So I'm sure that when they come in, you check: are you on Medicaid, or do you have? So they go
Yes.
through this process. The living room, you don't do that then, or do you?
We
don't
are
need
doing that.
Okay.
We don't bill insurance right now. We're completely covered by the grant, but we are collecting that information to plan for the future. So in the future, we hope to bill insurance or to get contracts with providers. So we are collecting those statistics now.
Is this the only one? Is this the only setup like this in the Capital Region? Because
Yes.
I don't know of any other that.
Yeah.
I didn't know about this one. So.
So we are the first of its kind here. We did model the program off existing living room programs. There's a handful around the country. There's one in Chicago and one in Westchester County that we collaborated with. But then we made ours a little bit different to incorporate the clinical aspect of Ellis.
So you're the first, huh?
We are.
So you've got a setup that I think is quite successful, and I think you're going to find that there is a lot of success with this. Do you foresee satellites, or do you think that this will be it?
Yeah. We're actually looking at, our agency is looking at opening another living room program in Albany in the near future.
And this is on radio, so maybe the Mohawk magazine there will, Hudson Mohawk might pick up on this, people listening to the show.
I think definitely interested in opening other locations. The nature of the program, to have that living room environment, we like to keep it small and serve about 6 to 8 people at a time, so it's not too overwhelming in there like an emergency room. But I think more locations would be great.
Well, I'm Ann Perillo, and you're listening and watching Schenectady Today in and around the Capital Region. We certainly like to bring a lot of information to our viewers and the listeners that are listening to us on the radio station here. But the important thing is that we need support for an intervention. I guess you don't call it intervention, you call it diversion. It's kind of an unusual term to use. Who came up with that? Everybody's looking at you.
It's a rather common term.
It's a common term that they use.
Psychiatry.
Yeah, it's a big push right now too in the field in general, is to divert people away from the emergency room in the hospital and keep them in the community.
Well, we find that's happening with a lot of hospitals opening up these urgent care, and even small practices are doing urgent care. And I know my physician has. You can come in on Saturday mornings without an appointment, for something, or even in the early mornings. It's the idea of keeping people out of the emergency room. I've had to go to an emergency room. It's not a pretty picture. Not that there's anything wrong with emergency rooms when you need them. But you go in there and you're anxious, and everybody else is anxious, and so it kind of raises that level. Yeah, so it's nice to know that there's like an urgent care for mental health.
Exactly.
I like that.
Most people don't want to go to the hospital, to the crisis unit itself. And there wasn't an alternative before.
Now you have the alternative.
Exactly.
Yeah. Whose idea was this?
Well,
Jen. It was a collaborative thought.
It was, well, we
had the coffee out, and you're saying, you know what we should do?
We had heard about the other programs in the country, and then we had touched base with Mary to collaborate and figure out how we could best merge together to create our program.
Jen's being too modest. She actually, she and...
We're talking about Jennifer DeCrescente.
Yes. Jen and her colleague, Andrea Bonacci, at the time, wrote the proposal, and they had come to an open house. When our building opened, we invited all the other providers in Schenectady County to see the building, and they saw the space, and then they wrote the grant proposal.
Well, we got to give a shout out to Ellis Medicine for putting this all together. I mean, making sure that they had a space and everything. Well, we've been talking with the group called the Living Room. It's not a group, but it's a place for people with a mental. It's sort of an urgent care for mental health, we'll put it that way. And with us, we've been talking with a number of their representatives. And if you want to learn more about that, how could they learn more about it if people in Albany or maybe Rensselaer want to learn more about it? Can they just call you or talk to you or what?
Yes, they could call us, or they
and that would be ellismedicine.org?
Yes.
Okay,
go on the website.
And you also have rehab.org?
Yes.
Yeah, to do that. I want to thank you all for being here, and I want to thank Taylor for putting this together, because Taylor was the one that thought about it and said it was it might be a good idea, so we decided to give you a little extra time to talk about what you're doing, because your work is wonderful and it's so important. So important now. So, and especially there's so much anxiety, it seems, in the world. So we need to kind of get that under control as best we can. Good. You've been watching and listening to Schenectady Today in and around the Capital Region on Open Stage Media. And we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we are going to be talking about the new discovery, the photograph of Pauahi, the new black hole. Stay tuned.
All right. And today, what might we see?
You're going to see everything from baby bats to bobcats.
And, oh my goodness, and how many different species do you have here?
Species, I don't know exactly how many different species. It depends on the year. Normally probably around 50.
Oh my.
We rescue over 500 animals a year here.
Wow. All right, let's go check the view and begin the tour.
Sounds good. Follow me.
All right.
Hey, welcome to the Sch'dy Valley, breadbasket of the American Revolution. This valley right here grew over 80,000 bushels of wheat to feed General Washington's troops during the American Revolution. We had 3 forts here to protect the farmers in this valley. And about a year ago, with Hurricane Irene, this valley was all pretty much underwater. Obviously up here on the hill we were high and dry, thank God, with all the animals that we have. And I'd like to show you some of those animals now. When stuff comes in, we do medical evaluations and we see what needs to be done with some of the different animals and assess their health, and then we move them to other parts of the farm from here, or to the vet if need be.
Oh my.
This is.
Hi, I'm Ann Perillo, and I'm the host of Schenectady Today in and around the Capital Region. And right now we have as our guest an astrophysicist, Dr. Rapson, is with the Dudley Observatory, and we have, well, not we, but someone took a photograph, a woman, yay!
Yes.
It was a series of photographs.
Yeah,
so
it was a series of photographs, and it really was a whole team of over 200 people,
I'm
but
sure.
there was a young female astronomer that kind of led the effort to create the image.
Yeah, and when we saw it, I mean, it looks like, you know, it looks like almost an eye with the, you know, the pupil being dark rather than light. This is where it is called Pauahi, right?
Pauahi, yeah.
Pauahi, I'm sorry, Pauahi, which is a Hawaiian word meaning?
Yes, it means dark source of unending creation.
Okay.
Yep.
So, unending creation. Now, from my understanding, a black hole is where everything is absorbed, even light.
Right, exactly.
And it's compressed so that you could get a whole planet in about this much.
Exactly, yeah. That black hole is 6 billion times the mass of the sun, but it's only 3 times larger than the solar system. So it's a lot of material crammed into a small spot.
And how does it suck it in?
Well, it has a lot of gravity, so when you put that much material so close together in space, the gravitational pull will pull anything nearby. So the picture shows a ring of light, a star falling into the black hole, and then that actual dark circle that you see is literally the hole itself, the dark circle.
And is it really a hole, or is it just a mass?
It's a little trickier than that. It's not exactly a hole, but it is a place where material goes to turn into energy and essentially disappear. So it looks dark. The light cannot come out, yes.
Really? But energy is neither created nor destroyed.
Right,
so,
right. I know. It's to really.
I mean, that was when I took physics.
Yeah, we really need like an hour and all of Einstein's relativity to explain it. But in simple terms, the material falls in, it gets converted to energy and absorbed into space-time. So the energy doesn't completely disappear; it just goes into a different form.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's really cool. We never really thought we'd actually get a picture of a black hole, and I'm just so excited to have one.
This is the only black hole.
No, there's a lot of black holes out there. And they have the data for the one in our galaxy. They just haven't finished analyzing it yet. So in the next couple of months, we expect to see.
So this black hole, Pauahi,
Pauahi,
is not in our galaxy?
Correct. It's in another galaxy 55 million light years away.
They just kind of ran into it, or what? I mean, how did that happen?
We had seen it already, not the black hole itself, but we saw some in the material that was moving away from it. And it's one of the biggest and brightest nearby, so in theory it was easy to image as compared to our black hole, because this one was much bigger.
Okay, so where is our black hole? And when we look at where Uranus is and Venus and all the rest, whereabouts? I mean, is there a roadmap?
There is.
GPS. You need a GPS.
Right. And thankfully, it's super far away. It's something like 25,000.
Because I don't want to get sucked into that.
No, no, we're good. It's like 25,000 light years away.
Okay.
So we are plenty far away. We're never going to get sucked into the black hole.
At
But it is
least we
holding
know.
our galaxy together. Yeah.
Okay. So there's so many discoveries that are going on now, and of course the black hole is the most exciting thing. But you're having a stargazing party coming up.
We are. We have a ton of events coming up.
And so tell us a little bit about that, and will you be discussing the black hole then?
Yeah, so we're hoping to have a star party this Thursday, although there is a prediction of rain, but we will have events, planetarium shows, and I'll definitely be floating around talking to people about the black hole. And we have our Rising Star interns, which are middle and high school students who have been through a program and they've been trained to do stargazing.
Okay.
So they'll be there, if it's clear, outside with their telescopes showing the public different things in the sky.
This is in the observatory.
Yes, this is in the observatory.
The observatory, I mean, you think that this is going to be some huge building. No, it's a small building, but the point is it houses an amazing telescope.
A huge 14-inch telescope. You can see other galaxies, star clusters, planets, anything you want to with this telescope.
And you guide us with that. So
exactly, yes.
If I look at it and go, what on earth am I looking at?
Right, well that's the point. That's why we're here. So me and the students are trained to point the telescope, and then all you get to do is look through it and we'll explain to you what you're seeing and all the cool features to look for.
Yeah, it's amazing. I have a telescope, and I remember, you know, it's so hard to see through it when you're flipping it around and trying to figure out what am I looking at.
Right.
And I see that, and I go, okay, I want to get it, and then I can't find it.
Yeah,
you got that down
tricky,
to a science.
Right. Well, my students spend 9 months with us learning how to get past that fact of the difficulty of pointing at things. So they are now experts, and they can show you anything you want to see in the sky.
Yeah, and even with my little telescope, which is not that little, it's amazing when you look at the moon, for instance. You can really see the craters and things.
It is amazing. And the bigger the telescope, the more zoomed in you get. So with our 14-inch scope, we can zoom right into those craters. We can see all sorts of details on the moon. And even
the stuff they left over, and that they kind of...
Not quite that good. Maybe the next telescope will be that good.
The footprints are there.
Right.
Okay, good. So you have a stargazing party, and I know we're going to be talking about your gala, which is coming up, but that's another segment that we're going to be doing on that. Who do you recommend coming to a stargazing? I mean, we want to get our kids started, and you're talking about the youth that are involved with this, but we really want to get as young as possible to understand this.
Exactly, you know, and we pride ourselves in being the place for families to come because we're right in downtown Schenectady, we're easily accessible, we're family friendly, so bring anybody you want to of any age. You know, looking through the telescope is best for about ages 5 and up, but even the young kids, we have plenty of fun stuff for them to do inside of the museum, and they can try their hand at looking through the telescope too.
Because and once, you know, you look through a telescope, it's like,
it's amazing. It's so captivating. So many students do that. They go, wow, that's amazing. And that's what we want.
You're looking at, you know, a telescope, but you are also doing the microscope with the nano, zoom into nano.
Yeah, exactly. We've got the nano exhibit.
So you're going both directions.
Right, exactly. You can see the really small and the really big all at the same time.
Yeah. And I know that how long will the nano, zoom into nano?
The nano exhibit will be up till early May, and then we have Wolf to Woof, the evolution of dogs. I'm so excited for that one.
Yes. And they're going to be doing a number of programs around the idea of the wolves to woofs, you know.
Exactly.
But you just got to love the way that the animals kind of started out being probably just going for the scraps and then ending up joining the nomads or whatever.
Truly becoming man's best friend, right?
Yeah, good. Do you have a man's best friend?
I do have some dogs and some cats.
Okay.
We're very pet friendly.
Okay, good. I know it's always good to have a few pets around. So we want to encourage people, and when is the stargazing party, or the Spring Star?
Yes, the Spring Star party is this Thursday.
Okay, and that's on the 18th of April.
Yep.
And that will be from 7:30 to 10, and you will find the Dudley Observatory at MySci, which is on the not Terrace Heights, which is just right across. There's a hotel there, Tree something, I forgot the name of the hotel.
Yeah, it's one of them.
Yeah.
Double tree.
Double tree. I know there was a tree in there. A double tree, and it's right across from that. You just go up the hill, and it's a wonderful museum. It's a place that you will get lost in. There's so many things to look at and to touch, which is really the nicest part about that, about the museum. It's a museum of innovation and science, allowing you to explore and learn and be excited by science, which I love science. You gotta love science.
Of course.
Gotta love science. We've been talking with Dr. Valerie Rapson. She's the astrophysicist, and she's the outreach astronomer for the Dudley Observatory. So you can always check them out at www.misci.org or dudleyobservatory.org as well. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to have you on the show.
It's great.
We're going to take another quick break, and we're going to learn about some wonderful fashion bags. Amazing woman. She is so talented. Stay tuned.
Red. One of the smallest owls that you find around here.
Wow.
We'll put him back because we don't want to stress anybody out too
Right.
bad. And then of course over here, I've got a couple of Kestrel falcons. These are the smallest members of the falcon family around here. These birds are cavity nesters. They actually go all the way to Central America to nest in the wintertime because everything that they eat would be under the snow and it'd be pretty hard for them to stay here year round. This is a female. This bird was actually hit by a car as well, and Cornell University had her, and they called me up and said that she would be unreleasable due to wing damage.
Yeah.
And she's actually on a federal education license now, so that she can be used to educate the public about preservation.
Oh my gosh, I am so impressed with this woman. Oh my gosh, you are so talented. Where did you learn how to sew?
My mom taught me.
What did your mom make?
Clothing.
Clothing.
She made clothing when we were younger. I'm from Central America, so my mom was,
Yeah.
my mom was a seamstress in Panama, and she annoyingly made clothing for me and my sister and had us looking like Bobsey twins.
Oh, oh, that's all right. But so I'm looking at your materials, and I see some of this that looks like embroidery, and some of it, like when I look at this bag here, I'm going to look at this one. Is this embroidered, or is that a fabric?
That is actually fabric, and it's called mola. In Panama, the indigenous Indians, which are the original folks from the land, they do what is called reverse applique. So they take layers of fabric and they create designs. So all of this is handmade by the indigenous Indians, and they sell it, and it's called mola.
You import it then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Every time any family, friends, or anyone goes home, they bring back molas for me, and I incorporate them into my bags.
And you don't even care what they bring because you'll figure out how to use it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and you make duffel bags, and I've got it, and I'm going to show this because I think this is so whimsical. I love that bag. Look at that,
Thank you.
it's just so. And this, do you make this out? Is this leather or is this a vinyl?
That one is actually a faux leather, also referred to as vinyl. Yep.
Yeah, and it's lined even with a beautiful fabric.
Thank you.
And I can't imagine doing this. I'm just telling you, I can't imagine it. It's like
it takes a special skill.
Yeah, because I do sew
and a lot of patience.
Yeah, I have sewn. Wait, past tense, sewn. But this, to me, is beyond anything I can imagine because you're putting zippers in and you're putting snaps on and you're putting all kinds of things. But your bags, I love the black one. Oh my God, that is gorgeous. There, you do T-shirts, and can we bring up some of the things that I grabbed off of the internet that shows the T-shirts? There you go. What are we looking at there?
So in the top left corner, I utilize what's called Ankara fabric with African designs on it to create what's referred to as a backpack duffel, similar to this bag, just a little bit smaller. And I incorporated the fabric so that when you open it, you see the fabric also. The outside of that, on that particular bag, I believe has someone's initial because that was special ordered.
So you do take special orders?
I do. The T-shirts I do for quick sales and a bunch of different designs on them.
And
I like to do.
You embroider on those?
No, those are actually HTV, heat transfer vinyl.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you just cut them out.
Well, aren't you clever?
And then you hot press them onto T-shirts.
Okay.
I love embroidering, so I do a lot of towels and blankets and stuff like that.
Those would make great
they
wedding
do.
gifts.
They make very great gifts and showers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then there's the backpack. that I also do in a variety of fabrics.
Right. Now this, I love this piece here, but let's get, I want to move this so they can see the duffel, because you make a pretty good sized duffel. That's not small.
No, and this is actually the medium sized one.
Oh, that's
and
a medium.
This bag was special ordered by an organization called New York State CDFI, Community Development Financial Institutions, I believe.
Well, good for you. You remember it all.
It took a minute. So what they're doing is they special ordered the bag, which they then auction off to gain money for one of their annual organization parties that they're having.
What a good idea. And so you do take special orders. And where do you get your creative ideas?
Kind of everywhere. Anywhere I go, it's crazy because I'll be, folks probably think I'm crazy, because I'll see a bag and I'll be looking at it, I'm like, if I change that and that and that, I can make it work and make it look this way. So folks probably think that I'm staring at them when really I'm not. I'm looking at your bags, but I get
well, you get ideas
from
not only
everywhere.
that, but you're not copying it. What you're doing is saying, I like that, but I think I want to do that. So you're creating. And I had a friend a long time ago, and she was a seamstress, but she would go to these high-end stores and look at different dresses just to kind of give ideas. And then she would go home and make her own pattern.
Correct.
Based on, oh, I liked the thing there, and I liked what they did there. And
exactly.
And
I do the same thing.
She created a whole new outfit, even though she was looking at other things.
Correct. And I do the same thing with bags and with clothing. Like there's not a whole, well, previously, because now there's so much more, but back in my days, because I'm not that young, back in my days, there weren't that many fashion or creative designs for curvaceous women.
Yeah.
So I just decided that I wanted to do my own thing and create something that would look good on me, but fit me the way that I wanted it to.
See, that's great if you can do that. You really should get. Are you involved at all with when they do the Fashion Week here up in upstate New York here?
I did not get chosen this time around, but I was in New York Harlem Fashion Week back in February, which was my second time around doing Harlem Fashion Week in the city.
Because your items are just so perfect for
many.
Yeah, to add to a fabulous dress, but then you got to have a little sparkle to it, and that's that bag.
As women, we need to accessorize.
You need a little accessorizing there. So you do bags, do you do clothing?
I do, not very often, but I do clothing, do some alterations. My love and passion is bags.
Is bags, well, I can tell. And I actually, if you wondered how I found out about it, it was an article in the paper, and I'm going, this looks fabulous. I was looking at this and I'm saying, oh my gosh, and these look like they're all like one-of-a-kind pieces and things. Yeah, and this one is one that was featured in here. And the K, that's your logo?
That is my logo. It is my initial for Kema, and then that is actually a picture of me that was then put into my logo.
Well, how clever, aren't you? So, and I see that a number of your bags do have your little logo on it. Correct. But you know what? That's how you're going to get known. In other words, when they look at that, they go, "Oh, that's a Kema bag."
Exactly.
Oh, got one. Good. And there, you do have a website. We can't give phone numbers, but we can certainly give a website, which we've put up there. That you can go to her website, and what's nice is she does have the prices up there, so you know no surprises, roughly. And I'm sure if you want something really special made, she'll talk to you about that as well.
Correct.
And then that will be, suppose you want purple, she'll figure out how to do it.
Just tell me what you want, and I can put it together. At Kema's Creations, we bring your creations to life.
Oh, is that your logo?
Again.
That's pretty nice. Thank you. How clever that is. We've been talking with Kema Maxwell. She is the owner, the designer, the seamstress. She does it all. And she had a helper with her today. Who was your helper?
Just a friend of mine who helps me with traveling and actually my drawings, and because I can't draw to save my life.
Really? And you do all this and you can't draw?
I cannot draw. My stick figures are just horrible, but my daughter is one of the, I don't know where she got it from, but it's not me, but I can usually tell the two of them to
well, at least you've
what
got
my creations are, and they will bring it to life for me.
At least you got the talent here, so that's all that counts.
Yeah.
such a pleasure to meet you and
Thank
talk
you,
with and
likewise.
see what you're doing. It's just wonderful. I
Thank
love
you.
creative people so much. I mean, it's just, we need more creative people, and buy local, buy local, buy
Yes,
local.
yes.
Please, because you need to support the people that are doing things in our communities and making our community more vibrant. And this is one lady that's doing it.
Thank
so
you.
good. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about another creative woman, and she is a playwright, and she does it all. Poetry, you name it, and she's got a bunch of books too. I mean, this woman just keeps going too. So stay tuned. I'm Ann Pearl. You're watching Schenectady Today in and around the capital region. Good.
Like Kestrel falcons.
So people around the country know of you.
Yeah, if you Google me, you can see that I've been around for a while. And actually, animal rescue groups and preservation and conservation groups all know who I am. I just did a show a couple weeks ago where Jim Fowler of Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom was a presenter after me. In here, I have some baby bats that I've been working on. And we feed them every 2 to 3 hours. And we do quite a few baby bats. We're one of the few facilities in New York State that does quite a bit of RVS, or Rabii vector species, which is a special license in order to do. And I think baby bats are the neatest thing ever.
Well, it's just amazing. Just seeing this baby bat, it's just
and they come
amazing.
in, they're about the size of a thumbnail. And they're about the size of a thumbnail. And they come in and they get quite a bit bigger over a course of a month or two. Now baby bats are called pups, and they would actually ride underneath their mother's wings.
I'm going to get a real close-up. Hold
Okay.
out. Hold out, little
They're
baby.
called
I'm
pups.
going to come way in. I'm going to come way in on that little face.
And they would be riding underneath their mother's wings, and sometimes they fall out or...
Now, how old is this baby bat?
Oh, I would say this baby bat's got fur. I would say he's probably about 2.5 months old at least.
And what his size? Half size? A third?
Oh, he's probably a third of his overall size. As you can see, this baby bat here, doesn't even have hair yet.
Now, would you call these domesticated bats? Because
Oh no, not at all.
Not at all, but they're not afraid of you.
Oh, they're not afraid of me because they think they're going to get fed. And as you can.
And here we are back again, and with me I have Penny Meacham, and she's an amazing woman. I mean, I can't believe she writes plays, she does poetry, she does books. Where did you get all your creative energy? I mean, we had another creative person on earlier, and you're following right up there with your creative in a literary way.
Yeah, it's something in the air around here.
It must be.
Yeah, it is. Well, I'm a writer. So writers write. Poetry, fiction.
How long have you been writing now?
Oh.
Was this something like you did when you were a kid?
When I was a kid, and it's just something I always knew that I was a writer. I didn't start writing, actually putting it on pen to paper until after I was 44. I had a stroke.
Really? And
it dawned on me, it's like, writers write. So I had to put everything down, and I had a plethora of poetry just coming out. And once I got, it was like past a couple of years of writing, then I was like, okay, nothing. And I had like a little bit of a writer's block. And so
they talk about that.
Yeah, it's real. But then I decided that, okay, I have all this body of work, what do I do with it? And that's when I started publishing and self-published, putting it online.
And Lulu is wonderful because you can
just put it out there. Yeah. And I said, okay, well, now what? Because I could, speak it. But some of the poems spoke to me in a way that said, no, you need to be seen in a different light. You need to be presented. And that's when I started thinking, well, okay, use what I have, take some of the poems, make them into skits and monologues, and that's when I started putting together
the Black Diamond
Group Performance Ensemble.
Yeah.
And they do my poetry. They make it come to life. Sometimes it'll be just straight poems. Sometimes I make it more of a monologue and make it an actual skit where it actually comes alive in a different way.
And where do you perform?
Throughout the capital region, wherever we can, set up, but primarily we have like 2 places.
that we always go to Sage College of Albany, Opaka Gallery.
Oh yeah, right.
That's
over
for
at Sage. Yeah, that's over on New Scotland Avenue.
Right, beautiful art gallery, and we always are there for Black History Month, and MOPCO. MOPCO right here in Schenectady.
Right here in Schenectady. They've got a great space.
Great space. We love MOPCO. And basically we've adopted Mike Burns and whole MOPCO. And so we began our season there in September, and we ended there in February. Basically it's a Black History Month type show, but depending on the theme we can tailor it for the audience. And but we also started in September to kind of work out the kinks. And we've started going to, like we went to a nursing home, so we do like an hour version. Some of our gospel segment, we do more of that there. And we're looking to be more creative and to see where we can, present what we do.
How do you get funded? Because it seems like you're an organization.
Well, funding, that's a nice idea. Right now, it's me. It's out of pocket. It's whatever I happen to bring up.
I know what she's saying because that's what this show is.
Lint and gum and whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, primarily we don't charge except for the last two for Black History Month, and that's just nominal, so we can, cover the cost of food and, some places, are free. We don't have a charge, and the others would split the door. But basically, this is a group that's doing this because we love to do it, and I'm giving people a chance to show them themselves in another light through my poetry. I get a lot of people who have no acting background at all, and that initially that wasn't my background, except somebody said, "Hey, you can do this," and I believed him. Donald Hyman. I was a part of his acting group.
I love Donald.
He's my big brother. I was a part of his acting group forever, but he knew.
That's the Upstate with Remy.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. But he knew that I had my poetry, and I was trying to figure out what else to do with it. And he gave me a shot. Said, "Hey, I know somebody who can write a play, and we can use that for fundraising." And I was like, "Oh, I guess I got to write that play, don't I?" And that's how I got it started out there.
He's a man that's going to keep you. He's going to give you that little bit of a, but in a nice way.
Yes. Oh, yes.
In a nice way.
Yes. No. But everybody needs somebody like that, and that's been invaluable to me.
He's your muse.
Exactly. And so when I meet other people, like I meet a lot of people at the bus stop or on the bus. It's like, "Do you act?" And I'm amazed how many times like, "Why, yes." At some, my younger years, I've acted, or no, have you ever considered it? And I've gotten a lot of people like that who, either they've had some experience and they want to bring it out, particularly our elders. A lot of the elders, to my surprise, they're open.
Yeah, because they're not as self-conscious as they were when they were younger.
True, so that's like a wealth of talent.
Yeah.
But even the younger ones, like I've never thought about it. It's like, well, here, see what you can do with it.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing when you start to see them getting what I wrote, where it starts sinking in.
Especially when it's poetry, that's a little different, and they're reading it rather than, even though they have to express, they don't have to memorize it unless you demand that they memorize it.
But that's always the goal.
Yeah.
But as a poet, as a writer, I want them to get what I was intending.
What's behind it.
Exactly. And once they do, and they start to be able to feel it and put it into a performance, it's a beautiful thing. It takes longer for those who are not trained, but when they get there, it's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful transition.
Yes.
It's interesting you say that, because I was watching a thing with Neil Diamond, and he wrote a song, "I'm a Believer," and when he did it, it was much different than the rock version. He says it was never intended to be a rock version, but it turned out to be a #1 hit. But his version was really beautiful because it was much different than so. However they interpret it, right?
Exactly.
So when you said the interpretation, so do you have a show coming up?
Right now, we're right in between.
You're in between season.
Right in between, but
well, be sure to tell me when you're going to do it, because I'd like to give you a little extra press on that.
Well, thank
you. And I don't know if we brought up the photos of her books, I think I pulled a number of them up. If you could, there we go. We're looking at, there's 3 of your books, and I think there's 3 more on a different.
And here's like the latest one that I just did.
Okay.
That's the one that we just did for this season.
Oh yeah, and I have a photo of that as well.
Yeah, reality trip. And I'd like to give this to you.
Oh, thank you so much. There it is. It's right up there.
And that's the season. This past season was based on this book.
Thank you so much for that.
About the ups and downs in life, and basically how it's still a gift.
Yeah,
a gift from God, and so.
No, I'm gonna. Excuse me, I guess I'm doing a TV show. Now I'm starting. Oh, I want to read this.
Well, you take time to enjoy it.
But I will read it. Yeah,
yes.
And maybe I'll act it a little bit, so I kind of get the feeling of what it's supposed to be like as well. We've been talking with Penny Meacham. She's an artist. I call her an artist because she's a playwright. She's a poet. She does it all, and she's a performance art. And we're talking about the Black Diamond Group Performance Ensemble. I get it all in?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Good. Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
I love creative people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
Okay.
We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to talk about Proctor's historical windows. Stay tuned.
Okay.
Wait, we got it? Just
Okay.
Yeah, one of the things, we don't name wild animals.
Oh, good, yeah.
Because I think if you name wild animals, you start thinking of them as pets.
Okay.
And even though I've fed these baby bats since they were little tiny babies, they still don't look at me with affection.
Yeah.
They look at me as food. Of course, is a baby skunk.
Just of course it's a baby skunk right here.
And we've been bottle feeding this baby skunk for about a month now. And you can see she's still very, very, very small. You can imagine how small she was when she came in a month ago. Skunks are really neat. They make a lot of really neat noises. And she's almost ready to the point to be weaned, in which case she'll move out to our RVS building, and she'll finish her weaning and growing there, and then she'll be released into the wild probably by the end of August, beginning of September. She'll go back into the wild.
All right. Does she have any experience socializing?
We don't have any other skunks her age. I have some bigger skunks here.
All right.
And she's too little right now to go in with the bigger skunks because they would pick on her. But eventually she'll go out with some.
Okay, and here we are back again, and Jan is with me, and I love your scarf.
Thank you. I'm actually wearing black in honor of the poor Notre Dame, and my scarf I got when I was in Paris. Again, how sad to lose something. Obviously they're going to be able to save it, but they're losing something so historical, which of course is why we have a Proctor's Historical Committee.
You don't want to lose those things. I mean,
the programming and the pictures and letters and things like this.
Exactly.
And of course we use them in our showcases and our museum that's on the 2nd floor. And if you go into the arcade right now, there is an empty case.
Wow, what does that look like? What does an empty case look like? I think they're going to bring up the photo of it.
Yeah, they'll bring it up.
There it is. That's an empty case.
An empty case. It's just waiting for something. And the picture on the other side is a hint of what it will be. That is the oldest daughter of the Schuyler family, which of course very famous in our area. And that picture came from the Albany Institute of History and Art. They are one of the 2 people who will be filling up those empty cases because
would it be because Hamilton?
Oh yes, Mr. Hamilton.
And that is a historic, it's not just a musical, it's a historic figure.
It is, and if you follow the lyrics of the musical, they're right on. I had a couple of my history friends look at it, and it's very, very true. And in fact, here we have, obviously, promotion for the musical, but the woman was Elizabeth Schuyler Hamilton, and obviously Hamilton's wife. And as they talk about in the musical, after he died in the duel with Aaron Burr, of course, she was instrumental in organizing Hamilton's writings and things like this, and of course writings, the Federalist Papers.
Yeah,
he wrote
right,
most
I
of
know,
those.
yeah, yeah.
He organized the Treasury. He helped George Washington first
Amazing
as an
man,
assistant and then as a general. He knew Lafayette and all of these people. And this is the period of time where our Schuyler Mansion, the Schuyler family, one of the early famous families in our area, and Philip Schuyler married Catherine Van Rensselaer. And if you are in the Schuyler Mansion and you look across the Hudson River, there is Kralow.
Yeah,
which is
Fort Kralow. Yeah.
Right, which is the Van Rensselaer place. So they could spy on each other. Maybe they were using a telescope.
They might have used a telescope.
There's signals back and forth before they got married.
Yeah.
But they raised 8 children there. And in the musical, they only speak about the 3, Angelica and Elizabeth, and then Peggy. And Peggy, she married a Van Rensselaer III, who was noted as the 10th richest person in the United States at that time. Of course, they weren't the United States; they were
Bill
just
Gates
the colonies,
around then.
right? So one of our windows will be filled with things from Schuyler Mansion, and then the other will be the Albany Institute of History and Art. And especially the Albany Institute of History and Art has a lot of the Schuyler family. This is the backdrop for Hamilton. Now we know, I mean, Hamilton spent time with Washington during the Revolutionary War and the Continental Congress in Philadelphia. So he was away a lot, and when he became a lawyer, he lived in New York City. But you know, Eliza's family had this house here and lots of property.
So the history is right. I mean, we have a lot of rich history here.
Right here. And so, and I brought a picture of a desk.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
And the desk is where...
It'll be on the right-hand side when the photo comes up. There it is.
So this desk is where they think that Hamilton did a lot of the writings of the Federalist Papers. And they were the ones...
So we need to stand close to that and see if it rubs off.
Oh, yeah, good writing and important writing. And the other little picture that they had...
Yeah, what was that?
It was a picture of Hamilton, but all around it was, you know, something embroidered. So it was their fancy picture frame. And, you know, it was not a picture, of course. This is the late 1700s. It was a little painting. But if you, and there's another little cutout of Hamilton that I was standing next to.
Oh, I love that. I love that picture.
Yeah, and when that comes
it's her
up,
standing up,
you will see.
There it is, right there.
He was a handsome devil. Oh my goodness.
Of course, that was a drawing.
Yes, and this is all paintings and things, you know. But he was very, very handsome. And so, as it does say in the musical, that the 3 sisters did go down to check out the soldiers, you know, and lo and behold, there, you know, in so many military places and times, all the young girls go to see all the soldiers, and that's exactly what they did.
And they did that then.
Yeah,
and I'm going to just
but they got married at Schuyler Mansion.
So how historical. I mean,
wonderful.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I do want to say who's coming up next week, and then we'll come back and finish our interview. We're going to be talking about an author who's written a book called Let My Legacy Be Love, a story of discovery and transformation. Another author's coming on, of Parabellum, and it's a spy thriller, and it's called When You Live in Peace, Prepare for War. Then another author is going to be on as well, and that's Chris Leonard, and he's written a book about the GE Realty plot. So we're doing authors next week, but we're also doing MySci with their gala, and we're doing the Schenectady Light Opera. They're going to be doing 42nd Street. And Taiwanese American Heritage Week, and then we're going to be talking about their culture as well, and their big performance coming up. But getting back to...
So, very soon. And one of the important things to remember, and we heard this from Michael Eck, don't buy any Hamilton tickets until the summer. They are not on sale, the legitimate ones, because Hamilton doesn't come until August.
Right, right.
And they are not selling the tickets because they don't want the scalpers getting a hold of them,
Right,
things
right.
like this. So I know many people are anxious to have their tickets, get their tickets.
Well, even
but
the people
not
that are subscribers
yet.
do not have their tickets. They just got a placer.
Right, we've got a placer.
Yeah, and
Yes,
that's it, because
yes.
they don't want them copied and used.
Right, right.
But I went on the internet just to kind of check it out, and I saw tickets for Proctors here for
Yes.
$1,400 and some odd dollars. And I'm looking at it saying, they don't even know what seats are available. How can they even do this?
Right. And of course, they offered them for both the Proctors Broadway series and also the Cap Rep.
Right. But
And
that's
so
legitimate.
Yeah, those are legitimate.
There are
ones.
no other tickets available. If
No.
you are not a subscriber, you do not have a ticket, don't buy them online.
No.
These are bogus tickets.
And they
you may
will
get,
announce it. They'll be really happy to announce it because they're
you're
going to
gonna
sell
know.
out.
It's going to be a party here when those tickets go on
Yes.
sale.
And when you come to the party, look at the showcases. The first one will be Proctors because he's
what we
the
do.
foundation of the theater and built it and kept it going. And then the other two will be related to Hamilton, and they'll be wonderful.
Right. We've been talking with Janice Walz. Thank you for watching Schenectady today.